All right, and we are back with part two of what do immunizations protect you from? Okay, so we're talking about HPV, and so when we talk about HPV, again, we're talking about um, why get the vaccine? Like, what is the purpose of the vaccine? So, once they realize that HPV is as common as it is, once they realize that HPV was the culprit, and again, there are multiple strains of HPV, but there are certain strains that cause cervical cancer, vulval cancer, vaginal cancer, anal cancer, penile cancer, throat cancer, cause genital warts, and it can cause a respiratory illness. So they decided that they wanted to give this vaccination prior to intercourse. That's why they offer it to your children at the age of 11, because they really want to give it to them to protect them. Prior to doing those things. Now, I have seen that they are giving it later and later to try to protect you, but it really is a discussion between you and your provider for older people. But we're talking about why are we giving the immunizations for our children and what it is protecting them from. So there's that. Of course, everybody knows about the flu. They want to protect you from the flu. Flu kills more children each year in the U.S. than any other vaccine preventable disease. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, let's talk about these measles. Measles is what I heard earlier. I was woe out. But measles, is it's a rash, right? But it's a serious disease that can spread quickly in the air when an infected person what coughs or sneezes. It's so contagious that if one person has it, up to 9 out of 10 people around them will become infected. Now, can you imagine somebody with measles being in the classroom and one of them babies cough and sneeze? The whole room got it. The whole room is lit up. Now, if 1 in 5 unvaccinated people in the U.S. with measles will be hospitalized due to life-threatening complications. That's measles. This is a condition that, if vaccinated, they don't get it. So the disease kills hundreds of thousands of young children every year around the world. Not here, but in other places where they don't have vaccinations that are required for their children. You see somebody then brought it back. Somebody then brought it back. So even in previously healthy people, measles can be serious illness requiring hospitalization. So our next one is meningitis or meningococcal disease. It is a bacterial illness. It leads to meningitis in children ages 2 through 18. It's an infection that causes swelling around the brain and the spinal cord. They can also cause blood infections. So, even with good medical treatment, 1 out of every 10 people with this meningitis, this particular type of meningitis, will die. We're talking about our children. Hundreds of people get meningococcal disease each year. 10 to 15% of these people die sometimes within 24 hours. Of those who survive, as many as 1 in 5 will have permanent disabilities such as brain damage, hearing loss, loss of kidney function, or limb amputations. You are getting this um, to try to prevent it. And then we have mumps. Now, I've seen a case of mumps when I was younger and in high school, but we definitely are giving vaccines to try to prevent a mumps outbreak. Mump outbreaks, once a common cause of deafness and meningitis, still continue, um, but not as prevalent as it used to be. Mumps is a contagious disease. It's caused by a virus. It's spread from person to person through what? Coughing and sneezing and through close contact. Even a regular conversation with infected people can get you infected. Ain't that crazy? You in the grocery store talking to somebody and you done went home and your lymph nodes just started swelling and you got these big old cheeks because you infected with mumps. That is insane. So while usually a mild disease, mumps can cause complications such as meningitis, which is that swelling of the brain and spinal cord, and deafness. We talked about that. So your babies are getting vaccinations against that. Pneumococcal disease. It is caused by a bacteria that presents in children's noses and throats. Now, again, it is unknown why it suddenly invades the body and causes disease in some children, but we vaccinate them to, protect them from that. It is spread by what? Coughing and sneezing. Coughing and sneezing. Them nasty little kids down over there, they, that's how they cough. You want some candy? You want some candy? I give you some candy. Who wants some candy with their little nasty hands? No, we got to protect these babies. Okay, so serious pneumococcal infections are most common in infants, toddlers, and elderly. Meningitis is the most severe type of this disease. Of the children that get it, 1 out of 12 will die or have long-term problems. So when they talk about the pneumovax, we talking about that. And something else is polio. We ain't had polio. Polio, it was really gone, but it is a crippling disease, right? Before polio vaccines were available, polio outbreaks caused more than 15,000 cases of paralysis each year. 15,000. Oh my goodness. So polio is a potentially crippling and deadly disease caused by a virus that spread from person to person. It can invade the brain and spinal cord, resulting in paralysis, which is what we talked about. It's one of the most dreaded childhood diseases of the 20th century, with annual epidemics primarily during the summer months. This often led to thousands of victims, mostly children, permanently in braces, crutches, wheelchairs, or back in the day, in iron lungs. Because polio can paralyze the diaphragm in the 1940s through and 50s, entire wards of hospitals housed polio victims who were dependent on the large iron lung to breathe for them. We ain't trying to do that in 2024. That's not our get down. The next one is RSV, the respiratory syncytial virus. Now, this is not a required vaccination. It's been a long time. If they've made it mandatory, I'm not 100% on that. But each year, RSV leads to 80,000 hospitalizations among children under 5. What else we need to say? It's a virus. It causes cold-like symptoms. It usually spreads seasonally between October and early spring. RSV can be spread directly through droplets of another person's cough or sneeze, or indirectly by touching a surface with the virus on it. So that's that's definitely something we gotta keep in the back of our mind. You have the rotavirus. That is a required vaccination. Without a vaccine each year, rotavirus could cause approximately 250,000 ER visits among children younger than 5. It's a stomach virus that can cause children to become so dehydrated they need to be hospitalized. Even with good hand washing and disinfecting surfaces, the virus can easily spread among family members in hospitals and child care centers. 2.7 million kids get sick, as many as 70,000. Part three coming up.